Hey, what's up? My name is Jam, and I'm here to talk about the Mommy Club. This is episode 3. I really have okay. I will because the episode comes out on Tuesday for me. Um, I will try and make sure I get the review out a day after the show airs, or like 2 days after the show airs, because 4 or 5 days is pretty late. So yeah, I'll make sure after the show airs a day or 2 days after. Did I say this? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If I haven't, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Support a bit. Support me, bitch. Episode 3 was all about Miss Manchi, Tshego. Tshego. Am I saying her name right? Tshego. I might be saying her name wrong and I'm repeating it like this, right? Okay, you know what? I'm going to stick to Miss Manchi until I'm able to say her name properly. It was all about her and her attitude and her mean girl attitude. Like, she really disappointed me this episode. I didn't think that she was like that. I really thought she was sweet. But anyway, we are seeing these women for the first time. So season 1 will let us know what kind of women they are. So every episode, I get to see the other side of someone. So this episode, Miss Manchi, you had an attitude. You had a mean girl attitude. Let's get into the episode. So Mrs. Mops was with the kids. Let me tell you, Sakai is such a baby. He just wants the attention on him. He wanted everyone to talk to him, and he wanted everyone to talk about him. And when he saw that's not happening, he just went upstairs. Even the mom, Mrs. Moss, was like, Sakai just loves attention. Anyway, she's talking with the other kids. They left, and then Manchi, the nanny, comes in. When I tell you Mrs. Mops is nosy and she doesn't even hide it. She doesn't even hide it. She just wants to know the gossip. And she's asking Manchi all these questions about the other nannies. And of course, Manchi is telling her. And she said, okay, she didn't tell us what, but she did say that she told Manchi to just dig in and find some things about the other nannies. And you know one thing about nannies, they talk about their bosses. And that's it. That's what Mrs. Mops wants to know. Mrs. Mops doesn't want to know nothing about the nannies. She just wants to know everything about the bosses. Because I remember when Manchi said that who was strict. I think Ratile's nanny was a bit reserved. And then Mrs. Mops was like, is it because the bosses are strict? Like, Miss Mops is a nosy little bitch. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think, you know what, the good thing I like about Mrs. Mops, she doesn't pretend. She doesn't pretend to be not to be messy. If she's messy, she's messy. If she's a gossip, she's a gossip. If she's nosy, she's nosy. She doesn't pretend not to do something. That's what I love about her. This next thing, Miss Manchi and Mrs. Mops. First of all, let me say this before I even get into it. Miss Manchi was looking really nice in that burnt orange dress and her Birkin. She was looking really nice. Mrs. Mops was wearing a hot pink dress. She was like Mrs. Manchi topped her there. I'm not gonna lie. They sit down. Of course, Mrs. Mops, nosy little bitch. Mrs. Mops like, so what did you talk about? I just want to know what you told Her Majesty the day you were at my house. And she's like, wait. And then first they talked about how they want to do something for Happy because they feel like she's going through a lot. Mrs. Mops said that Happy is not those people who I don't think will take, because they say they want to go to the spa. And she's like, Mrs. Mops is like, and I actually agree. When she said Happy does not look like someone who will take it well. She'll take it like it's a pity party. And I don't think Happy will take it well. And I agree. Happy does not look like someone you just throw something like this for her and we actually saw how she got later on. A pity party for her, she won't like it. I don't think Happy likes that. Happy does not like that. I don't think Happy likes that. So Miss Manchi said she'll just choose something else, which we saw that she chose something else. And then she started talking about, okay, it's fine, I pulled Happy aside to talk about her calling my child wild. Mrs. Mops' nanny. Mrs. Mops was like, don't you think your child was a bit wild? And Miss Manchi is clearly upset, like, wild, why? because licking a cake is wrong. And Miss Manchi is like, he's a toddler. Mrs. Mops like, he's 5 years old. Yes, he's a toddler. Oh, he should know right from wrong. No, he doesn't. That's why the mother corrects him. That's what Miss Manchi is saying. Honestly, I was on Miss Manchi's side there. Yes, he's 5 years old. Yes, he should know right from wrong, but he's still a toddler. They don't listen. And then he's a boy. And at least Miss Manchi corrected him immediately. Like, it's not like she let it slide. She corrected him immediately. Do I think I know I can no, I won't say that. But this next part, I really felt like it was scripted. Miss Manchi standing up saying, "Oh, I can sit here," and then throwing glasses. I thought that was scripted. I think that was just being over dramatic. Like, why are you throwing glasses? For what? She said that she wanted that Mrs. Moss was not hearing her, but I just felt like that part was scripted, to be honest. So she left. Oh, before leaving, she's like, why are you guys talking about my kids? I don't see you guys talking about other kids. Well, first of all, they're talking about your kids because your kid is the one who went and licked a cake. So that's why they're talking about your kids. And they're not talking about your kids like that. They just say that. I understand her being mad, someone calling her child wild. She's associating that with an animal. So if you know that it's pissing her off, don't call her child wild. Anyway, she left, like she went down the stairs. Mrs. Moss was like, "You threw water on my dress, you short little bitch." And every time she said, I didn't realize Miss Manchi was so short until Mrs. Mops said it. I was like, oh my gosh, she is short. And then Mrs. Mops followed her down the stairs, and now they were standing like this, right? So this is Mrs. Mops, and then this is Miss Manchi. She's like, she's really short. Miss Mops is like, listen, it's not such a big deal. I'm not call your child wild ever again. Tshego is like, okay, fine, just don't call my child wild. I don't want people calling my child wild. And it's if she doesn't want you to call her child wild, drop it. And like I said, when it comes to the kids, just drop it. Anyway, they went back up, sat down. I guess they continue to eat. Mrs. Mops told her, you'll pay for my dry cleaning. But I swear, Mrs. Mops, this episode, Qua Confessional, she was so animated. Like, this was Mrs. Mops the whole time. This is Mrs. Mops. She's not hearing me. When the pearly whites come out, you should listen. That was Mrs. Like, not Mrs. Mops, sorry, Miss Manchi. Mrs. Mops is always animated. In a good way. But Miss Manchi was so animated in this episode, I did not understand why. Anyway, that was their lunch. That's how their lunch ended. Ratile and Hanani, this scene wasn't a lot. Ratile and Hanani Barbara. And then the kids came in. She has twins. She has 3 kids, twins and another child. So 2 boys, 1 girl. They're super close, super tight. It's a good thing. I love it when they film with the kids, because kids can't pretend. They'll overdo it, but they can't pretend. So you get to see the ladies being real. So I love it when they film with the kids. Happy. When this season started, I was like, I'm not sure about Happy, but I was sure I was gonna defend her. Some things I was going to defend her. Anyway, Happy is at her house bedroom. Happy is trying to call Titi, her firstborn daughter. Titi's not picking up her calls. Titi's not replying her text messages. She doesn't know where Titi is. So she ends up calling Titi's dad. Remember last episode, Titi said Happy's husband was her stepdad. So yeah, so her dad is still alive. In the UK, I'm guessing he's either Nigerian or Ghana because of the accent. Because I don't want to say just Nigerian, and I don't know if the guy is Nigerian. So either Nigerian or let me just say West Africa. But the way Happy talks, I'm pretty sure it's Nigerian. He calls him. Happy calls the baby daddy, and she's telling him, listen, I'm trying to call your daughter, she's not picking up my calls, this and this and this. And I guess they started fighting about how Happy is raising Titi. And the audacity of this man who's not around, because according to Happy, this man is not around, but you have all this to say about how Happy is raising Titi. If you're a missing parent, I don't think you have any room to speak. I get it, she's your daughter, but you have no room to speak. I think Happy was getting annoyed. Happy ended up asking him about the visa, about Titi's visa. How's it going? I just want her to leave. And then the man was like, oh, you just say you want her to leave? I have never met a parent who has a teenage daughter or a teenage son who's not fed up with their teenage child. I have never met that. Like, we're not going to come at Happy like, oh my God, she hates her child. No, I have never met a parent who does not who is not fed up with their teenage child. So when Happy was like, how far is her visa? I just want her to leave. I kind of understood what she was trying to say. But then the man was like, oh, you just want her to leave? And then I don't know what he started saying about I can't bring a woman to the house when she doesn't have a family or a man. What did he say? And I was like, what is this man talking about? A woman can't join a family without a man. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what are you talking about? Either they did edit some things out, because I didn't understand her asking, when is your daughter coming, and him going to, a woman can't join a family without a man. Your daughter is a teenager, so is she supposed to come with a man? Or are you talking about Happy? Like, I didn't understand that. And then he was like, I want to be a good father to her so that she's also a good influence to her siblings. So I'm guessing Titi is a normal teenager who is naughty, and the father knows that and doesn't want Titi to be in UK with him, because he will not be able to handle her. But you're gonna blame Happy for how your child turns out, but you don't want your child around you. Anyway, Happy just ended the call. Like, you know what? I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm gonna finish what I'm doing, so bye. And then finally, we get to see Happy's auntie, Nanny. She comes in. Now this part, I don't know if I'm going to blame production or if I'm going to blame Happy and the nanny. So the nanny comes in and is like, are you ordering food or are we going out to eat? And Happy's like, so you haven't cooked, huh? He's like, yeah, I haven't cooked. And then she said, no, we're going to go out to eat. Later on, the nanny went to sleep with the baby. And then Happy was talking to her second child, her second born. The girl that she didn't want to have her birthday the same day as the husband died, that one. She was talking to her. After they talked, like, I'm sleepy, we're going to go to sleep. So which one was it? You already had your dinner, you are going out for dinner, you're going to sleep. So I don't know who to blame here, production or Happy and the nanny, acting like they were going out for dinner and they had already eaten, clearly, because you wouldn't go to sleep if you had not eaten. Anyway, they talked a bit. They show the nanny. What was the nanny's name? Auntie's name. Oh my God, did I write the auntie's name? I forgot to write the auntie's name. They show the auntie in her confessionals. Of course, she praises Happy, but she says she's been with Happy for like 7-8 years, and I don't think you would stay with someone for that long if they were not good to you. So I believe Happy is a good person to the auntie stroke nanny. Anyway, it was time for the 2-year-old to sleep. The one who almost got beat up, the nanny went and put the baby to sleep and they left. And then now the second born, and they're talking, and she's asking her about her birthday and what she wants for her birthday, and she says she wants a cat, and then she says she wants a snake. Like, who asked for a snake? A snake, nyoka. You know, the funny thing is, Happy's reaction is such an African thing. She said, a snake, what do you want people to think of me? Because you know, when you have a snake in the house as an African, you're like, who are you trying to sacrifice? Who are you trying to sacrifice? Having a snake in the house. Listen, Remember last week's episode when she said that she doesn't want to celebrate her daughter. She doesn't want her daughter to celebrate her birthday on this certain day. But you see, this episode, she's all up for it. So I think she was saying it, thinking her daughter doesn't want to celebrate her birthday a day after her father died. But this episode, she's like, what do you want me to do for you? I want a cat. I want a snake. And she said she'll think about the snake. But I don't think a snake is a good thing to bring to the house. Period. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say that the auntie usually covers up for Titi when she goes out. And that's a bad thing because you don't know what can happen to the girl. So as the auntie, you should tell the mother, listen, I don't know where she is, or listen, I know where she is. Because you don't, especially for girls, you just, okay, not even for girls, even for boys these days, you never know what happens outside in this world. So I don't think it's right for the house help to hide such things from their boss. I don't think it's right. The next thing was Miss Manchi. I told you Miss Manchi had an attitude. She pissed me off this thing. Miss Manchi was going to visit Ratile. Oh, I forgot to say they did talk about Ratile with Mrs. Mops at the lunch, and Miss Manchi was saying that Ratile is a bit closed off. I don't know why she thought that. Like, this was your first time meeting the woman. What do you mean she's closed off? Anyway, Mrs. Mops didn't agree with that. She thought Ratile was a really lovely lady. So Miss Manchi is just got to Ratile's house, and I'm guessing the concrete was a bit steep or something like that, because she was like, finally at the door, thank God. I have a deco girl. You can't have this big mansion and your house looks like this. So I'm guessing it was a bit steep for her, and she had heels, so she couldn't really walk properly. So I guess she wants to show Ratile that she has a better outside than her. And she came in, and Ratile owns the IV drip thingies. She set her up at the IV drip thingy, and they start talking. Miss Manchi's like, I thought that you were a bit closed off. Ratile says, first of all, I was great crashing a party, number one. These are new people. Number two, I'm pretty sure plus the cameras, so I couldn't just start spilling all my business. But she did talk about her being a Miss South African finalist. But also Mrs. Manchi said that she thinks that Ratile is surfaced. She really thinks that. So Ratile is like, I know you from somewhere, and you used to be friends with so and so. So Miss Manchi is no longer friends with that person. So she already has an attitude like, why is she asking me about this? Like, even her facial expressions. Like, for me, Ratile had so much patience, because this girl was just throwing jabs after jabs after jabs, and there were jabs that don't make sense to me. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. Whatever happened, happened. So no, she did say whatever. She said friends just fall apart without really falling apart. Like, there's nothing that really happened. And Ratile is trying to, are you sure clearly something happened with her and the other friend, but she doesn't want to talk about it. Ratile didn't press it much. Like, she was like, okay, fine, clearly she doesn't want to talk about it. They start talking about marriages. Ratile asked, so you're married to a Nigerian? Or no, how long have you been married? And then Miss Manchi was like, oh, you're just there with the questions. You want to get to know this lady wants to get to know you. How are you supposed to get to know each other if you don't ask each other questions? How are you supposed to get to know each other? So of course she's going to ask you, how long have you been married? You took offense to that. And then she said, I've been married for 7-8 years. You've been married for 3-4 years. So she told you how long she's been married. And then you were shady with, but you're married to an older man. And you said, ask me how I know, because of your aesthetic. To be honest, the house does give a little bit of vintage, old. Yeah, the house gives that. So I'm guessing the man is more involved with how the house looks more than Ratile. But you didn't see Ratile getting so offended the way this one got offended when Ratile said, you're married to a Nigerian, there's a charm for you ladies. and said, "You guys." No, she said, "You guys." Miss Manchi, I'm not you guys. I'm Miss Manchi, and no, I don't want to know the term that they call us. I'm like, can you just take it easy? Like, she came in so hot with an attitude. She didn't want to listen to Ratile. She had an attitude with Ratile. Like, from the moment she just came in, I think she just didn't like Ratile, and she was trying to have a moment with Ratile. Like, Ratile was really trying her best with this girl. But Ratile said, I'm going to say it anyway. The term that women who marry Nigerians, the term that they're called is Jolofina. Like, that's so funny. Oh my god, that was so funny to me. And Ratile is beautiful. Oh my god, Ratile is beautiful. Miss Manchi is beautiful also, but Ratile is really beautiful. Honestly, this saying Miss Manchi had an attitude for no reason. Ratile just wanted to know you, and that's the only way to know someone is ask questions. But of course, Miss Manchi did not want to be asked questions. And it's so funny because you asked Mrs. Mops about the cheating scandal. But that one, I really think that Mrs. Mops made sure that you asked that question. But you asked that question. So why can't Ratile ask you questions? Because you're also in that you're asking her questions, you're insinuating some things, and she's just trying to clear it up and trying to build a friendship with you. So you having an attitude, this scene was just too much. It was. You could tell that she was really offended with her marrying a Nigerian thing, and I'm like, why are you offended? If you love the man, F anyone else, right? Anyway, she started saying, we are all Africans. In our house, we don't know this is Nigerian, this is South African, which is a good thing. Yes, we are all Africans, to be honest. So I don't say, oh, you're Nigerian. Of course, the culture is different. Of course, the food is different. But we are all Africans. But she really took offense to it. She really did. And she was a bit uncomfortable, apparently. And I feel like if you also see someone is getting uncomfortable and irritated by the questions, you should stop. Like, Ratile should have been like, okay, this bitch is like being too much, so let me not even ask her any more questions. Anyway, that was their meetup. Ratile was trying to be nice, but Miss Manchi was just not nice. Ratile also talked about the fact that she's married to an older man, the age thing, and Miss Manchi, so how what's the age gap? What's the age gap? You see, so you're okay asking her questions, right? What's the age gap? And she said like 14 years. She was married when she was 22. I guess the husband was a groomer. She was married when she was 22. The parents were okay with it. Like, of course, the man was rich. The parents would be okay with it. Because if that man was poor, the parents would not have been okay with it. Let's just be honest. Ratile came out with this big album. I'm like, Ratile, this man has really made you old. There was such a big album. I think that's where Miss Manchi's wall kind of went down a little bit, and she was just looking at the album, the wedding pictures. Ratile was really, really cute, and then apparently she got married while pregnant, and Miss Manchi caught that immediately. She's like, "Why are you pregnant here?" Miss Manchi, such a nosy one. But I loved it when they were looking at the album. She was a bit relaxed, and at least she was now warming up a little bit to Ratile. But yeah, that's how their meetup went. Nunurai and Miss Manchi meet up. They had a play date. Listen, I'll just go straight to it. Nunurai was wrong for telling Miss Manchi about Happy's situation. And then she's like, it's really weighing heavy on me. No, it's not. Just say you wanted to gossip about it. You should not have told Miss Manchi. Granted, Happy did talk about this, ladies would have found out, but it wasn't your place to go and tell Miss Manchi about what Happiness had told you the last episode about the husband dying with the side chick. Miss Manchi did put up a good front, acting like she didn't know, because if it's a story that everyone clearly knew. But Miss Manchi acted like, what? The side chick was in the car? So Nunurai should not have told Miss Manchi about Happy. Miss Manchi told Nunurai about what happened at lunch with her and Mrs. Mops. Nunurai said you are being a bit dramatic, throwing drinks and all that. So I'm glad Nunurai told Miss Manchi. I don't have a problem with Nunurai, to be honest, for now. I don't. She could have kept her mouth shut, but I really don't have a big problem with her. None of the ladies, actually. I don't have any problem. There's no one I hate so far. So all the ladies meet up. Miss Manchi, remember her and Mrs. Mops talking about to do something for Happy, and they were like, the spa is not it. So Miss Manchi ended up doing the rage room. So the rage room is where you just get into a room. There's some TVs, mirrors, empty bottles, tires, and then you have some bats and you hit everything, break everything up. So that's where they went. Listen, I enjoy that Nunurai doesn't overdress for some of these events. Like she was in t-shirt and tights. Like, we're going to a rage room, so why am I dressing up? But at the same time, I enjoy when the other ladies overdress. Okay, for me, who looked nice? Mrs. Mops. Her tits were out. Mrs. Mops is a beautiful lady. She was looking really nice. Okay. Miss Manchi was like, I asked them for overalls. They didn't have any cute ones, so I got us red overalls. They went and changed. Mrs. Mops was not feeling it. Like, I feel like I'm in jail, so this is not for me. Mrs. Mops, of course, has to be shady when it comes to fashion. I think the person who was most angry was Nunurai. I need to find a rage room. I think I would prosper at a rage room. Yeah, I wanna go to a rage room also. Nunurai was the most sad because the way she was hitting those things, my goodness, she was breaking things up. She was really angry. Anyway, they did the whole thing and they were going to eat. They all went to eat and Ratile joined them. And they asked Ratile, why didn't you not come? Ratile said I had an engagement with Miss SA panel or something. And apparently Nunurai was supposed to be there, but she didn't come. And I guess she was waiting for Nunurai, and that's why she was late for the rage room. So Nunurai should have just told her, I'm not coming, instead of making her wait. Because Ratile was pissed. Because she was like, I had already made time for this rage room, but someone messed me up. So that means I was late for the rage room. But she ended up coming for the, was it dinner? It was dinner, I guess. It was dinner because they had already finished the rage room by then. So Happy said, no, Miss Manchi asked Happy, did you enjoy it? She's like, yes, I actually really did. And Happy's asking her, why did you decide to do this for me? Because of everything you've been going through. And Happy's like, what? Yeah, and also Nunurai told me some of the things that you've been going through. Happy was not happy. Happy, at this time, Happy was Her Majesty. Her Majesty was not happy at all. She was like, what are you talking about? And then Miss Manchi tried to touch her. I said, don't touch me. I was like, huh? Miss Manchi didn't have an attitude now. You know, she's kind of scared of Happy, right? And there goes Mrs. Mops. So Nunurai talked about, you talked about Happy to Miss Manchi in a gossipy way or in a concerned way? And Nunurai is there like, no, in a concerned way. And Miss Manchi's like, no, in a concerned way. And Miss Mops like, that sounds like it was in a gossipy way. I don't think Mrs. Mops likes Nunurai. I don't think Mrs. Mops likes Nunurai. Her Majesty is not happy. She's like, why are you talking about me to someone when I say that I told you and Ratile? You running your mouth to go and tell Miss Manchi was not right. And the episode ended there. I'm guessing they're gonna fight about it the next episode. That's where it will start off. Happy is justified to be angry. Happy is justified to be angry. Mrs. Mop is gonna be the instigator because she was like, it was gossipy, right? It was gossipy. Mrs. Mop is gonna be the instigator. I think Ratile will also be on Happy's side because Ratile was also there when Happy was telling the story, and that story is really personal, and that story is really embarrassing. So if someone has to tell that story, you let Happy tell the story. You don't go around telling that story because it's really hurtful for her. It was really hurtful. So Nunurai was not on the right when she talked about the Happy situation. Miss Manchi's attitude out the window when Happy said, "Do not touch me." I love when she said that. I can't wait for next episode. That's my recap for today.